من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن خير الكلام كلام الله وخير الهدى هدى رسول الله وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. Inshallah, we're going to, for the next few weeks that I come anyway, bi'idhnillah, going to deal with the 10 nawaqid of al-Islam that Shaykh al-Islam Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab rahimahullah ta'ala spoke about. Those 10 nawaqid of al-Islam, or those 10 things that if a person were to fall into any of them, knowing what he was doing, he would be excommunicated and expelled from the fold and the circle of al-Islam. The 10 nawaqid of al-Islam. And the reason why the Shaykh wrote this book was as a nasiha to the ummah here in Spark Hill, in Birmingham, in this country, where many of us come from. You will find that many people not only fall into 1 or 2 or 3, but sometimes more than half of the 10 nawaqid that the Shaykh was referring to. So it's a nasiha that we need to understand. It's a nasiha that we need to hear, an issue that we need to be aware of. Also, to equip ourselves to deal with this issue and giving dawah and taking away from our relatives and those people we know, those things that conflict and contradict what is correct concerning these particular issues. So the first thing we want to mention concerning why he made it 10 nawaqid, there are more than 10 things that will destroy your Islam. There are more than 10. But these 10 that he mentioned are 10 of the most common, as some of the ulama said. They're 10 of the most common and comprehensive nawaqid that people fall into. Another issue or possibility why he mentioned 10 is because these 10, they're the main ones that the other ones come under these 10 as subdivisions. But we always have to be careful of being stuck on numbers sometimes, because when we find out the minhaj of a particular scholar, why he put that particular number there, we need to understand and comprehend what's behind that choice. The 40 hadith of Al-Imam An-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala. He has more than 40 hadith in the book. More than 40 in the book. So why did he call it 40 hadith? Once you know about the minhaj of the scholar who wrote the book, then you'll comprehend. So the first point that we want to mention is that there are more than 10. But he chose these 10, as we mentioned, because the 10 most popular. We're going to just deal with one at a time, inshallah. Maybe 2 as we get down the line, depending upon the attendance and who's in the attendance of the audience. So the very first naqid of al-Islam, and naqid is the singular and the nawaqid is the plural. For those of you who are learning Arabic, and Arabic is the key to the knowledge of Islam, anytime you have a word in Arabic language that doesn't have an intellect and is on the wazn of fa'il, then the plural is always going to be fawa'il. So naqid, it means something that will destroy something, and it doesn't have an intellect. It's not like talib. Talib is something that has an intellect, and it's on the wazn of fa'il. I hope you guys are with me. Talib is on the wazn fa'il. So the plural of talib is tullab, because it's on the intellect. Any time a word is on the wazn of fa'il, and it doesn't have an intellect, then its plural will always 110% in the Arabic language be fawa'il, like naqid, nawaqid. The telephone in Arabic, hatif, hawatif, because it doesn't have an aql. The street, shari', shawari'. The sahil, like the ocean, the shore of the ocean is sahil. The plural, sawahil. Water, liquids that go liquid. It's called sa'il, sawail. Again, the point here is naqid, nawaqid. The 10 nawaqid of al-Islam. The very first one that he brings is making a shirk with Allah Azza wa Jal. If a person makes shirk with Allah, outright shirk with Allah, it destroys his Islam, no matter how many good deeds that individual does, no matter how sincere that individual is. If they fall into shirk with Allah Azza wa Jal, and they worship with Allah other than Allah Azza wa Jal, then that worship constitutes them being put outside of the fold of al-Islam. And it's the biggest of the kaba'ir. Allah Azza wa Jal has mentioned in the Quran, Inna Allah la yaghfiru an yushraka bihi wa yaghfiru ma duna dhalik liman yasha. Allah does not forgive that you make shirk with him, but he'll forgive anything other than that. Meaning ayat showing the harm and the danger of a shirk. وَمَن يُشْرِكْ بِاللَّهِ فَقَدْ ضَلَّ ضَلَالًا بَعِيدًا. Anyone who makes shirk with Allah, he makes other partners and he worships Allah with other partners, then verily he has gone far, far astray. Allah Ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, وَمَن يُشْرِكْ بِاللَّهِ فَكَأَنَّمَا خَرَّ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ فَتَخْطَفُهُ الطَّيْرُ أَوْ تَهْوِي بِهِ الرِّيحُ فِي مَكَانٍ سَحِيقٍ. Anyone who makes shirk with Allah, it is as if he has been thrown from the sky and some birds came and snatched him up, or some wind came and threw him off to a far distant land. So this particular naqid from the nawaqid of al-Islam is shown to us by these ayat, many ayat, that if a person dies doing it, then Allah Azza wa Jalla is not going to forgive him. And there are two types of shirk, to the majority of the scholars, two types of shirk. Some of them say 3. And again, as I mentioned, the 10 nawaqid of al-Islam, we don't jump up and down if we read a book or someone said there were 15 or 20. These numbers, they have their flexibility. Also, the 2 types of shirk. Some people said 3, some people said 2. If you read in the book or you took the opinion that there are 2 types of shirk and someone came and said 3, don't jump up and down because he said 3. There are those scholars who said it's 3. Anyway, we're going to stick with what is easy. The 2 types of a shirk. The major shirk and the minor shirk. And when we say minor shirk, the minor shirk doesn't mean that it's a small thing. It's still a major thing. But it is not like the major shirk. So the major shirk are those things that people do that take them outside of al-Islam. Like slaughtering for other than Allah Azza wa Jal. Like an individual praying to other than Allah. Like an individual outright worshiping other than Allah. Those things that people do that take them outside of the fold of al-Islam. And the minor shirk are those things that don't take you outside of the fold of al-Islam. By swearing by other than Allah. For an example, a person swears by his father, his mother, his grandfather, or something like that. And also, some scholars said that the small shirk, because of the hadith of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is the shirk of showing off. The Nabi told the people sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "Akhwafu ma akhafu alaykum min ash-shirk al-khafi." The thing that I'm afraid of the most for you people is the hidden shirk. So some scholars say the hidden shirk is the 3rd category. Others say that the hidden shirk is the smaller version of shirk. They said, what is the hidden shirk, Ya Rasulullah? He said, it is showing off. Doing things where you're not doing them for Allah Azza wa Jalla. So the first naqid is the naqid that takes people outside of Islam, disqualifies your religion if you fall into the major shirk. You young brothers, in the religion of al-Islam, the most important aspect of the whole religion of al-Islam is to worship Allah alone without any partners. And you have to know, if an individual came Yawm al-Qiyamah with all of the sins that fills up the whole earth, and those sins go all the way up to the sky, and he met Allah Azza wa Jal, not making shirk with Allah, Allah is going to forgive him. But if a Sikh, if a Hindu, if a Jewish person, a Christian, if a person who doesn't believe in any God at all, an agnostic or an atheist, if they were to do all of the good deeds, they went to the poor countries in the world and they built big hospitals and they fed all of those people who are sick and who are hungry, and they clothed all of the poor people, they'll get their reward for their efforts in this dunya, but when they die, their deeds will not allow them to get into the Jannah, and that's because they disqualify themselves from going to the Jannah due to the fact that they made shirk with Allah Azza wa Jalla. So anyone who made shirk with Allah, the Jannah is haram for him. Concerning these four aspects, concerning these two aspects of the shirk al-akbar, there are four categories of the shirk al-akbar that we want to touch base upon. The four main aspects of major shirk that people fall into. There are other ones, but these four are the four that all of the other ones, they revolve around these four. The first one, shirk al-akbar, that causes people to go outside of Islam. They think they're Muslims, but they are not Muslims. Christians and Jews, they think that they're believers, but they're not believers, because they fall into shirk akbar, and they fall into one of these four categories. And no matter how sincere he is, no matter how many efforts he made, no matter how much the individual actually thinks they're doing the right thing, if he falls or she falls into one of these four, it will render the deeds null and void, zero with Allah Azza wa Jalla. The first one is the shirk of your intention, your niyyah, your irada, those things that motivate you to do different things. If you make shirk in those things, then the deed that you're doing is not accepted. Many ayat of the Quran, Allah Ta'ala mentioned, for an example, فَمَنْ كَانَ يُرِيدُ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا وَزِينَتَهَا نُوَفِّي إِلَيْهِمْ أَعْمَالُهُمْ فِيهَا. Whoever his intent is that he wants the dunya and the zina of the dunya, we're going to give him his reward in this dunya, and they won't be cheated one bit. The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that Allah said, anyone who does a deed and he does that deed for someone other than me, then I'm going to reject him and his deed. So your niyyah has to be only for Allah. The niyyah can't be for any of the creation. It can't be for something of the dunya. It can't be for anything other than Allah. That's shirk al-akbar. Person worships Allah and he, in his niyyah, he's worshipping Allah Ta'ala in order, and he has some other ulterior motive or objective. That's the shirk that can put the individual outside of Islam if he knows what he's doing. The second type of shirk al-akbar is the shirk of obedience. The shirk of obeying people when it's clear that it's in disobedience to Allah Azza wa Jalla. And this form of shirk, just like the first one, it has its details. It's not just like that. Unfortunately, in Spark Hill and other than Spark Hill, we have some people who, due to lack of knowledge and lack of sincerity even, they themselves fall into this. Because if they were sincere, they would go about judging people and ruling people in a different way. They have something mixed with their niyyah. If their niyyah was sincere, if a person has a sincere niyyah, he'll go about dealing with things a particular way. You know a person is not sincere, you don't know what's in his heart, but you know he's not sincere by the way he's dealing with this situation. So the second type of shirk al-akbar is the shirk in which the individual obeys other than Allah Azza wa Jalla, and it has its details. When a person disobeys Allah and he obeys a created thing, he doesn't become a kafir automatically just like that. But when he disobeys Allah and he knows what he's doing, and he's disobeying Allah and obeying someone else in something that is clear, and he's doing that and he's persistent and consistent on it after he's been taught and he's been given the hujjah and the dalil, and he does that, then the ruling of disbelief can apply to that individual when the proper people are involved and they pass that ruling. As Allah Ta'ala mentioned in the ayat in Surah At-Tawbah, اتخذوا أحبارهم ورهبانهم أربابا من دون الله والمسيح وما أمروا إلا أن يعبدوا الله وما أمروا إلا أن يعبدوا إله واحد. Those people, they take their monks and their priests as laws along with Allah, and they also worship Isa, the Masih, and they've only been ordered to worship one God, the one true God. This hadith, there's a famous incident that transpired. The hadith is weak, but because of some other chains of narrations, some of them are mawquf, they stop with the tabi'een. There's a lot of ikhtilaf between the scholars, but one of the companions of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam before becoming a Muslim, his name is Adi ibn Hatim. He came to the Nabi and the Prophet was giving him dawah, and he was a Christian from the people of Mecca. The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him, you people were making shirk with Allah. He said, how was that? He said, because you worship your monks and you worship your priests in the church. He said, we didn't do that. We didn't make sajda to them. We didn't make ruku' to them. We didn't make dua to them. The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, when those people saw that Allah made things haram, they came and made them halal, and you said it was okay, didn't you? He said, yes. He said, when those people saw that Allah made some things halal and you made them haram, and they made them haram, you obeyed them in it. He said, yes. He said, that was your ibadah to those people. To worship Allah Azza wa Jal in a way and with things that Allah didn't legislate is shirkum billah. Allah Ta'ala mentioned in the Quran about the kuffar of Quraysh, am lahum shuraka shara'u lahum min ad-din ma lam ya'dhin bihi Allah. Do the people of Quraysh, do they have partners along with Allah who didn't give them any authority to legislate in the religion? So when the kuffar of Quraysh were saying this meat is halal, this one is haram, you can't eat this one and you can eat this one, even the days, they used to say, this day we're going to suspend the hurma or the sanctity of this day, and then the next month we're going to make it sacred, and so forth and so on. All of these issues, when the people listened to those people who were making those decisions, Allah Ta'ala, He described them as being partners that were erected and set up along with Allah. So we only worship Allah and the legislation of Allah. Now, in today's system where we're living, some people will give you a hard time. We have to have community cohesion, and we have to coexist in this society. It's not a Muslim society. So when they have laws and legislations that go against the religion of Al-Islam, or they have laws and legislation, is it a sign of disbelief for the Muslim to live here and to take any of those laws and legislation? He goes outside of the religion of Islam? It's not the meaning of this particular issue. There are universal laws that are acceptable by everybody, and they are sanctioned by Allah and the deen of Allah Azza wa Jalla. And where those laws go against our religion, we just say we don't practice that. It's as simple as that. I don't, and we can't embrace homosexuality. No matter where you live, you can't say that it's okay. But can you harm the guy who's a homosexual? Can you discriminate against the guy who's, as long as you here, you can't do that. But for the Muslim to come and say, this is something that's permissible, no, this is not permissible. The legislation is what Allah Azza wa Jalla legislated, like it, who like it, hate it, who hate it. And the religion of Islam gave us the ability to coexist and to be in these types of environments, as it was indicative of what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam showed in a practical way when he lived in Mecca. The third issue or category of the kufr and the shirk al-akbar is the shirk of ad-du'a, ad-da'wah. People making dua to other than Allah. And I don't think there's anybody here, out of all of you brothers, I don't think there's anybody here except we know people who make dua to other than Allah. We're not going to say every Amr, Bakr and Zayd that makes dua to other than Allah is a kafir and he's excommunicated. We're not going to say that. All of these nawaqid of al-Islam, all of them, they are contingent and predicated and built upon the person knowing what he's doing. And if he doesn't know what he's doing, someone teaching him in a good way, in a clear way that's concise, practical, and effective, and then he says, I'm not taking it, and he insists on doing it, he goes outside of the religion of Islam. So the third category of the shirk al-akbar is the shirk of ad-dawah or ad-du'a. Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned in the Quran a condition of the kuffar of Quraysh. And in reality, unfortunately, Quraysh were better than the Muslims of today in this issue. In this issue. I don't say that the kuffar are better than Muslims from every angle. But in this issue, the kuffar of Quraysh were better than the Muslims, many of the Muslims today. Allah described their condition. He said about their condition, Tabarak wa Ta'ala, فَلَمَّا رَكِبُوا فِي الْفُلْكِ دَعُوا اللَّهَ مُخْلِصِينَ فَلَمَّا نَجَّاهُمْ مِنَ الْبَرِّ إِذَا هُمْ يُشْرِكُونَ. When they used to ride in the ocean, Abu Lahab and Abu Jahl and those people, when they ride in the ocean and there were waves and there were a problem, they got caught in the storm, they turned to Allah with ikhlas, with sincerity. And they started making dua to Allah alone. Oh Allah, help us to survive. Oh Allah, land the airplane. Oh Allah, make my relative well. Oh Allah, cure me from this disease I'm about to die from. Oh Allah, give me this, give me that. When the person has a tough situation, they call on Allah with ikhlas. Because that's the fitrah. That's the fitrah. Allah said in this ayah, but when Allah causes them to ride to the shore and they are okay, lo and behold, they start to make shirk with Allah. They start calling on the saints. They start calling on the idols. They start calling on the sun and the moon and other than Allah. That was the kuffar of Quraysh. The kuffar of Quraysh, if they were in an easy situation, they would make shirk with Allah. If they had difficulty, they called on Allah with ikhlas. Here, Muslims, some Muslims, when they're in a good situation, they call on other than Allah. Ya Rasulullah, Ya Ali, Ya Sheikh Abdul Qadir, Ya Fulan, Ya Fulan. And when they have a tough situation, they call on Rasulullah. They call on Sheikh Abdul Qadir al-Jailani. They call on the saint in the grave and other than that. So in this regard, as Shaykh al-Islam Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab mentioned in another book of his, Al-Qawa'id al-Arba', he brought this point out because he had to deal with people who, this was their mentality. When he lived, the people were worshiping rocks, they were worshiping trees, they were worshiping graves, they were worshiping any and everything that you came up with. You wanted to make some money off of those people, all you had to do was bury someone in a grave and say it was the grave of Saint so-and-so, and they would come and they would worship that individual. So he made that point. And that's another reason why he wrote this book, because the environment that he was in, the environment of Najd and the Arabian Peninsula at that time, those people were making shirk left, right, and center, and they were Arabs who know the language. What do you think is the case of people who speak Urdu and people who speak African languages other than that? It's going to be even more shirk with them. Arabs, the original tongue is the tongue of the Quran, and they fell into that type of worshiping other than Allah. What do you think is going to be the case with the people who are the A'ajim? It's going to be even worse. Ashad. It's going to be more severe. So the shirk of obedience, to obey someone, or the shirk of making dua to other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ibrahim, he made a dua to Allah ta'ala, Rabbi jannibni wa baniya na'budul asnam, Rabbi innahunna adlanna kathiran min al-nas. Ibrahim, he's the Khalil of Allah. He's one of the 5 major prophets. Ibrahim salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi, the so-called 3 major religions come from him. Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Isa, Musa salawatullah wa salamu alayhi. They're all from the descendants of Ibrahim. He has so many virtues, so many virtues. When the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam went on the I'raj, the Isra wa Mi'raj, he met Ibrahim in one of the heavens. He's a tremendous Nabi and Rasul. And yet he made dua to Allah Ta'ala to protect him and his children from worshiping idols. He said, verily those idols, they have sent astray many people. So if that's the case with Ibrahim, then clearly the people who are living today, non-Arabic speaking people like us, we need to be aware of these issues. The fourth and final, Shirk al-Akbar, Khwani, Shirk, 2 types. Major Shirk, put you outside of the religion. Second type, the shirk al-asghar. You don't go outside of the religion, but it's still a kabira from the kaba'ir. Abu Huraira, he said, may Allah be pleased with him, for me to swear by Allah, to say wallahi, and I'm lying, is more pleasing to me than to swear by other than Allah. For him to say, I swear by Allah, and he's lying, is a kabira from the kaba'ir. Lying is a major sin. And to swear by Allah, lying is even major than that. But swearing by other than Allah is shirk. And Allah doesn't forgive that shirk. So the individual who swears and he's lying, it's a big sin. He's swearing by Allah and he's lying. It's a big sin. But it's not like swearing by other than Allah Azza wa Jalla. So when we say major sin, when we say shirk al-akbar and shirk al-asghar, don't think that shirk al-asghar minus shirk means that it's insignificant or small. The fourth one. The first one is the shirk of obedience. The second one is the shirk of your niyyah, your irada, your qasd. What are you intending? The third one is the shirk of ad-du'a, calling on other than Allah, making dua to other than Allah, worshiping that individual. The fourth and the final shirk al-akbar is the shirk of love. Loving people or loving something beyond the hudud, going overboard. وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَتَّخِذْ مِنْ دُونِ اللَّهِ أَنْدَادًا يُحِبُّونَهُمْ كَحُبِّ اللَّهِ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَشَدُّوا حُبًّا لِلَّهِ. From the people of those people who they take partners other than Allah and they love those partners more than they love Allah. They have partners and they love those partners more than they love Allah. And how it happens in our religion, the manifestation of this is that an individual will, again, if you tell him to say wallahi, he'll say wallahi and he'll lie. But if you tell him to swear by the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to swear by Al-Hasan or Hussein, to swear by the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to swear by the Sheikh, he won't swear by the Sheikh, Hassan, Hussein, Ali. He'll only swear by them, tell him the truth. Tell him the truth. When the Mawlid of the Nabi comes, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when that Mawlid comes, some people in their celebration of the Mawlid, they cry. Some of them are extremely happy. Some of them are extremely generous. But when it comes to the celebration of the weekly celebration, which is the Jummah, he won't attend the Jummah. He won't attend the Jummah. He won't attend the Eid. And if he did attend the Eid, if he did attend to the Eid, he doesn't have that feeling that he has when he did the Mawlid of the Nabawi. The sacrifices that he made for the Mawlid, the way that he makes himself appear to be happy, and he's really happy. That is one of those indications. The people of the madahib, whether they know it or they don't know it, to follow Al-Imam Al-Shafi'i rahimahullah ta'ala when he's clearly made a mistake in a particular issue, and the person says, I'm going to follow the Imam, and he must have known this, he must have known that, and he comes up with 1.5 million excuses as to why he's going to follow him. And I'm not talking about the person who's blindly following because he doesn't know. The truth didn't become apparent to him. If the truth is not clear to him, he has to ask the people of knowledge. If he doesn't know, someone that he trusts, someone that he has faith in their taqwa and in their deen, and he follows them blindly, he'll be exempt in front of Allah. Under the condition, he should be quiet. Don't talk, don't debate. It's not for him to debate. Because he's a muqallid, and the one makes taqleed. He's taking someone else's opinion and position, and he doesn't know the dalil. So therefore, why is he going to argue and debate? He doesn't think Raf' al-Yadayn is correct? No problem. He doesn't have the ability to follow and understand that? No problem. Blindly follow the Imam, but don't debate. Just be quiet. Problem with many of the people is, he's a blind follower and he's debating and giving his opinion. You can't give your opinion. So I'm talking about the individual ikhwani from the madahib or other than the madahib. They have the ability to find the solution and the answer to the problem, but they look at it, you bring them dalils, Bukhari, Muslim, this is that. The scholar from the madhab, the Shafi'i madhab, he himself said this. This is Al-Imam Shafi'i's position. That's what he said in this book. And the individual says, no, I'm still going to follow this. I'm going to follow that. that is a form of loving more than you love Allah. And again, I want to clarify this point. Just because a person falls into one of these things or all four of them, he doesn't get excommunicated just like that. He doesn't get put outside of the fold of Islam just like that. There are conditions that need to be present and some preventive measures that need to be absent. If those conditions are absent and those preventive measures are present, we don't put takfir on them. The person is ignorant. The person was compelled. The person made a mistake. He made ta'wil. He thought it was like that, and he made ta'wil. He thought he was doing the thing that was correct, but it turned out it was incorrect because of his ta'wil. So these issues have to be considered. We just don't take these blanket statements, these ayat and these ahadith, and make them applicable on Muslims just like that, unless the Muslim is falling in something that is known from the religion with durura, with necessity. Someone who takes the Quran and he defecates on the Quran, he urinates on the Quran, he goes outside of Islam. He goes outside of Islam. You don't have to sit and debate him. Are you crazy? If you know that he's not crazy, he's not drunk, he took the book of Allah and he put it in the toilet and he flushed it in the toilet. He went to the bathroom on the Quran. He goes outside of the religion of Islam. We're going to come to that chapter, inshallah. So there are certain things, if a person were to do those things, then there's no kalam. But for the most part, the reality of what our community is fallen into, even some of us, the reality of what some of us are fallen into, they are from the nawaqid of al-Islam, but the person does not go outside of Islam until he knows what he's doing and the dalil and the hujjah has been established against him. So that's the first naqid. The naqid of making a shirk with Allah Azza wa Jal in any shape, form or fashion, where we are worshiping Allah and we're worshiping along with Allah someone or something else, or the person is not giving his total absolute ikhlas to Allah based on those four things that we mentioned. So we're going to stop here, and every week we're going to take one without getting too deep into all of these issues because it's not necessary, but just touching the surface. So the first one today is the main reason why Allah Azza wa Jalla sent all of the prophets and all of the messengers. وَلَقَدْ بَعَثْنَا فِي كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ رَسُولًا أَنِ اعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَاجْتَنِبُوا الطَّاغُوتَ. We sent to every nation the Rasul, and he told his people, worship Allah and stay away from false deities. وَمَنْ يَكْفُرْ بِالطَّاغُوتِ وَيُؤْمِنْ بِاللَّهِ فَقَدْ اسْتَمْسَكَ بِالْعُرْوَةِ الْوُثْقَى لَا انْفِصَامَ لَهَا. Anyone who disbelieves in the false deity and he worships Allah alone, then he has held on and grabbed the handhold that never breaks. Revealed to you, Ya Muhammad, as we revealed to the people before you, that you should worship Allah, O kama qala Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, ikhwani, if you brothers have any questions or comments, you could put them forth right now. Hal indakum shay?
What is the position of the atheist who says he doesn't have no belief? Is he following the shirk too?
Now, the atheist as well, he's making shirk with Allah because, as Allah Ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, أَرَأَيْتَ الَّذِي اتَّخَذَ إِلَهُ هَوَى. Have you seen the one who has taken his desires as his God? He's worshiping his desires. He's worshiping his desires. The fact that a person would deny and reject the reality that there is a creator, Allah, a khaliq, a rabb, a raziq, that he didn't create himself, and that Rabb, that Khaliq, deserves to be worshipped. The one who comes and says, no, that's not there, then he has taken as his God his hawa. So they're making shirk as well. They're mushrikoon as well. Kuffar, mushrikoon. Any more questions? Now.
What is the form of riya? Can you explain that first?
What is what?
Riya.
Riya. In the hadith of the companion Mahmud ibn Labid, may Allah be pleased with him, he said that the companions were sitting there and the Nabi came and he said to them, Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, akhwafu ma akhafu alaykum al-shirk al-asghar. Qila ma shirk al-asghar ya Rasulullah? Qala riya. He told them in this narration of that hadith of Mahmud ibn Labid, the thing that I fear for you people more than anything else, Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Ali, you ulama from the companions, Ibn Abbas, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, the thing that I fear for you people more than anything else is from the minor shirk. They said, what's the minor shirk? He said it is showing off. Showing off is when a person does a thing to be praised by the people. The Prophet says, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, man samma'a Allahu bihi, wa man ara'a Allahu bihi yawm al-qiyamah. Anyone who does something so that people will hear that he did it, yawm al-qiyamah, Allah is going to pay him back. Anyone who does something so that people can see that he did it, yawm al-qiyamah, Allah is going to pay him back. Very first 3 people who are going to be judged yawm al-qiyamah, it's not the anbiya, it's not the awliya, it's not the muttaqeen, it's not the sadiqeen, it's not the muhsineen. Very first 3 people from this ummah. A man who was a mujahid, another man who used to spend money fi sabilillah, and the third man who used to read the Quran. It would be said, you mujahid, you made jihad so that the people could say you were brave. It was said, and it'll be thrown in hellfire. And that's what's going to happen to the other 2 individuals, going to show the danger of doing some action and doing some deed that you're mixing with that deed other than Allah Azza wa Jal. So ar-riya, almost no one is exempt from it. Great scholar of Islam, he's from the ulama al-hadith. There are 10 scholars of hadith who are called Amirul Mu'mineen fil Hadith. They're the highest level of muhaddith. Only 10. They're the highest. From them, Al-Imam Ahmed, Al-Imam Malik, Al-Imam al-Bukhari, Al-Imam Muslim, Al-Imam Abdullah ibn Mubarak, Al-Imam Shu'bah ibn Hajjaj. From them, Abdullah ibn Mubarak. One of them is Sufyan al-Thawri. Sufyan al-Thawri was a big scholar who used to teach, and the people used to come to him. He said, the most difficult thing that I made jihad against was my niyat. Making my niyat just for Allah. People traveling all over the world to come and see me. When they meet me, they raise me up and so forth and so on. He said the most difficult jihad I had to make was jihad against my nafs, my niyat. Now if that was his case, and if Ibrahim in the Quran made dua to Allah about his children falling into shirk, and the Nabi said to Abu Bakr, Uthman and Ali and those companions, the thing that I fear for you more than anything else is showing off, then what do you think about people like us? All of us. The one who is teaching, the one who's a student. Our culture, the Asian culture, the hip-hop culture, is a culture of riyah, keeping up with the Joneses. They get a kitchen, we got to get a kitchen, new kitchen. We got to extend our kitchen. They have a car, we have to get a car to compete with their car. My clothes, his clothes, that's the way the culture is. The me, myself, and I culture says to the people, look at me. I'm validated. I'm somebody. Whereas the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam talked about that man that he praised. That man who, when he comes, nobody knows that he comes. When he leaves, nobody knows that he left. When he knocks on the door, sometimes the door is not open for him. He's the individual. They don't invite him to the nikah and the walim and so forth and so on. But then there's that other man. When he comes, everybody knows because he makes sure that they come. Even in the nikah. I have to give the nikah. I have to give the nikah to the people. If I have something else to do that day, I say I can't do the nikah. Because I know, especially with the Asian culture, part of the culture is to come late. Part of the culture is to come late. So that the first people who come, this is what I was told. Allahu Alam. Allahu Alam. This is what I was told. If you came early, it means that you're greedy. You want to eat the food. Is that true? I heard that. Is that true? Is that true?
I don't know that.
That's what I heard. Why are they always late? Anyway, the point is the culture itself, the culture that we're living in, it is a culture of look at me. And look in Islam. The Nabi, he says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the one who wears the clothes of shuhra, of trying to be famous and well known, he's going to be punished. The clothes, he has a car and he painted his car crazy color, pink. He wears crazy colors so that the people can point to that individual and say, look at him. Where the goal and the objective for the Muslim is, look at Allah, pay attention to Allah, Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar, and so forth and so on. So Riya, akhi, is dangerous and is an issue for everyone. In our masajid in Ramadan, when they ask people to spend this money and they put your name up on the list, it's not haram, but it's something that we should not want to do. The best sadaqah is the sadaqah where the left hand doesn't know what the right hand gave. 7 people will be under the shade of Allah Azza wa Jal Yawm al-Qiyamah, on the day there will be no shade. One of them is a man who gave sadaqah. Nobody knew what he was doing, because it's far, far away from ar-riya. The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that Allah said, fasting is for me, as-sawm li wa ana ajzi, is for me and I'll reward it. And that's because from the actions, the deeds, the only action from the ibadat of al-Islam that's between you and Allah is fasting. Only Allah knows you fasting. You can show off with your wudu. You can show off with your salah. You can show off with your zakah. You can show off with your hajj, your umrah. You can show off with all of that. People don't know if you have wudu while you're praying. They don't know. But if you're fasting, no one knows that you're fasting but Allah. Is far away from the eyes of the people. And that's from the virtues of fasting and from the lessons of fasting. Cultivating and developing us and giving us tarbiyah on the importance of at-tawheed, al-ikhlas to Allah Azza wa Jal. Any more questions, Ikhwani? You little shabab, you little shaboob. You guys have any questions? Okay, then we'll نكتفي بهذا القدر ونسأل الله تعالى أن يوفقنا وإياكم لما يحب ويرضى.